Okie dokie. So I hope everybody saw my mistake last time, because I know you guys think I'm perfect, but I'm not. I actually do make mistakes. So the last recording was actually supposed to have been titled Topic 9 Part 1. So remember to fix that, and that was my mistake, because I've done so many of these and I'm losing track of what's what. Okay, so topic 9 part 2. We're going to be looking at the respiratory system. Very, very important. So when we think about cells, remember, medicine is all about keeping cells happy. So cells need oxygen, and the waste product is carbon dioxide. Very, very simply with regards to gases. So what is the job of the respiratory system? The job of the respiratory system is to give us that oxygen, to provide the oxygen, and to get rid of the carbon dioxide for us. That's the job. That's the major job of the respiratory system. But the respiratory system provides the gases and gets rid of the gases, but we also need the circulatory system to move the gases around. So the respiratory system works with the circulatory system to provide the gases and take away the wastes. Okay? So there are 4 processes, and the respiratory system is in charge of 2, and the cardiovascular system is in charge of these 2, and then the cells are also involved in a process. So if all processes 1, 2, 3, 4 need to work perfectly in order for us to be able to deliver oxygen to the cells and take away the carbon dioxide. Okay? All 4 processes need to be working well. So that is called respiration. And there's actually another, like all of this together is called respiration. So these 4 processes is called respiration. And you have specifically external respiration. You also have internal respiration, and you also have cellular respiration. So there's quite a few things going on, but collectively this thing is called respiration as a whole. Okay. So the other thing we need to think about is that not only is the respiratory system giving us oxygen and taking away the carbon dioxide, we also do other things with it. For example, we speak, so we can make sounds, and we also can smell beautiful Thai food. Okay, so the respiratory system actually does a lot of things, lots and lots of things. And here, whereas before we looked at the major function of the respiratory system, this is more specific. Okay, now we're going to have a look at smell. Oh, we've looked at smell already in neuro. There you go. We're going to look at how we make sounds today. We're also going to be looking at our nasal cavity. We also the respiratory system delivers air. That is what conduction means, just delivery of air. Gas exchange, of course, that's its job. And pH. Now, pH regulation, don't worry too much about this particular function, because we're going to learn more about it later in 175. Just for now, just kind of in your mind, kind of think that pH You know, the respiratory system has something to do with the pH of your body fluids. That's all you need. I want you to understand right now. Wow, didn't we see this when we did blood pressure? Where was ACE? In the lung tissue. And I don't know about this particular function, but yeah, it's important for other activities. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the organs that we need to learn about. The ones that you need to remember are highlighted. So here are the principal organs. Now, what you need to understand is that some textbooks and some resources differ in the way that they classify the upper and lower respiratory tract. Just saying, some of them that are slightly different. So don't worry too much about that definition. I'm going to use the one that's in the textbook just to keep things simple. Let's look at the nose. Let's look at your schnoggin. Wow, your nose. How we get air in. It does a lot of things. When the air goes up your nose, it gets air put in it and we warm it up. It filters the air, okay? We use it for speaking and we also can smell with it. So it actually does a lot of things. Let's have a look and see what the nose is actually made up of. So the nose itself is made up of the outer nose and the nasal cavity. So it's got two parts. So when we have a look at how, what is the nose? Here is your bone, your skull. Then on the top of that is some cartilage. And then on the side is your dense connective tissue, okay? So when we're putting a nose ring on, we're going through dense connective tissue. And you know that you have a lot of sebaceous glands, which are oil glands, okay, on your nose. If anyone suffered from pimples on their nose. So let's have a look now at the nasal cavity. So here we go. Here is the nasal cavity. We've done the external part of the nose. So can you see here that you've got your skull? So that's the roof of the nasal cavity. And then you've got your palate. You actually have two palates. You've got your hard palate, which is, bone. And then you've got your soft palate. So just saying, and we're going to look at those later. The nasal cavity is lined with mucous membranes, okay? And we have two kinds of those. And the olfactory one is the one that has the sensory receptors for smell, and the respiratory one we're going to look at later. Can you have a look? Can you see here that in your nasal cavity you've got these kind of ridges? They're like mountains. Yeah, they kind of stick out. Now the point of those is when air goes up your nose, the air actually is made turbulent. So we're going to suck the air in and we're going to swirl it around. And by swirling the air around, we're actually cleaning it and warming it up. So we've done your nose and we've done the nasal cavity. What we're going to look at now is the pharynx. Now the pharynx is made up of three different parts. Here we go. Let's have a look at the pharynx. So here is your nasal cavity and here is your pharynx. There are the three parts of your pharynx. Now, it's three parts. Now, what you need to remember here, that the pharynx is made up of skeletal muscle. So it's a skeletal muscle tube. Okay? And also what you need to understand is that the cells that are lining this tube change depending on where you are in the pharynx. Okay? Can you see here that the nasopharynx has one kind of tissue? whereas the oropharynx and laryngopharynx have a different kind of epithelial tissue. So what you can do is you can draw a picture of the type of epithelial tissue found in each one, okay? Now the pharynx connects the nasal cavity to the mouth at the front. So if you have a look here, here is your nasal cavity and here is your mouth, the oral cavity. So can you see there? So that's at the top, that's superior. And then if you look at inferior, it connects, the pharynx connects to the larynx and to the esophagus. So you have a look here. Here's your pharynx. Here is the larynx. Okay. And there's your esophagus. Right, so it's like a tube, a skeletal muscle tube connecting things. So it connects your nasal cavity to your oral, and down here you've got your larynx with your esophagus. So it connects two things here and two things there. And the other thing that you need to learn about the larynx before we move on, the pharynx, sorry, is that like when we are talking, air goes back up here, so it is involved in voice production, and also there's a few tonsils hanging around, okay? So here, look, there's a tonsil there, okay? So remember, we're going to look at tonsils later when we do immune, so don't worry too much about that. And this bit here actually has a little bit of cartilage in it. See? And yeah, so that's a little bit, just a few tiny details, but it is essentially a skeletal muscle tube connecting other structures together. Okay, now we're going to go into the voice box or the larynx. So the pharynx is different to the larynx, okay? Now the larynx opens. It's made out of cartilage. It's designed to keep your airway open, and it's basically made up of cartilage, okay? There's a bone here. This higher bone is your Adam's apple, and you've got pretty much cartilage and connective tissue. So it's designed, larynx, to keep your airway open. You make sounds with it, and also it's there to control where food goes, and so the food doesn't go into your lungs. So if you can have a look at this picture, this is just the front of the larynx and this is the back. This is the epiglottis, which basically is like a flap that control and make sure that food doesn't go down your lungs. I'll show you how that works. See here? See, this is the epiglottis. Look, it goes, no, you don't. You're not going down to the lungs. You're going down to the stomach. So that's the job of that. Okay. Oops, let me stop that. Right. This is what's in your larynx. This is larynx. So in your larynx, you have your vocal cords. Okay, vocal cords in the glottis area, So when you look at this, oops, sorry, there we go. So when you have a look at, this is your so your vocal cords, can you see here? And your little muscles, they are within the cartilage of your your larynx. Now what happens is that those vocal cords, they move like this, and then air goes through them, and then that's how we make a sound, okay? So here is the cartilage, here are your vocal cords, and this is your tongue, okay? So that's the air pushing past the vocal cords is what creates sound. So when you have laryngitis, it means that your vocal cords are swollen, okay? And it's got to do with the virus now, or an infection. So when we look at inflammation, you'll know why they swell later on. Oh, have we done inflammation yet? No, we haven't yet. And then we have extra tissue that can be that's in here around the vocal cords, and then you can have a vocal change in the patient because of that. So essentially is that you have this structure that opens and shuts like this, and the air going through it is how we make sounds. All right, so I think based on your textbook, from the nose to the larynx is the upper respiratory tract. Okay, I might stop it there to let you catch up on your notes.